Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up.
All that jam. A lighthearted look at the weekend jam bands.
Where we break down the jam scene's biggest stories,
Talk new bands.
upcoming tours,
And show reviews. A little laughing, some hot takes, and an always positive message for the community.
Getting Deep with Claudio Corona.
We're joined today by Claudio Corona, who is a Hammond keyboard player who has a new single out. How are we doing today?
Very well, thank you.
When I read your bio, you mentioned Deep Purple. Why don't we jump in with how Deep Purple has shaped your life?
That's a good question. It all started like that. Well, the story is I was, how old I was? I think I was 8. And I heard Made in Japan, the live album, the one. And I was blown away by the sound of it. It's just the sound. And at that time, I didn't know what Hammond organ was. I didn't have any idea. It looked like a keyboard to me of some kind. And then it all started there, really. I got fascinated by the sound. And it was very close to a guitar, but it wasn't a guitar. And it was full of like hard rock at that time. And I got hooked up completely. And I learned Made in Japan by ear, all of it. Solos, riff. It took me, I don't know, years, because it's actually difficult stuff. And that's how it started, really. I'm still a Deep Purple fan. But even if I love hard rock, is my first, I never got into actually play it. I played a little bit when I was young, but then I go into blues, jazz, and funk, really. It seems like the hard rock scene of the 70s is sort of not quite alive as I would love to be, really. That's how it started.
Very nice, very nice. It gets to be around 2004, and you had moved to London?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I had sort of like kind of two lives. Well, I was playing there, but also I was a student in a different university. But I was playing mainly accordion in folks band, and then played what I really loved in bars and other venues. But the scene was prominent in folk jazz and acoustic, so I learned to play accordion for that. But then I just wanted to just play the Hammond organ, really. That's why I moved to London to try to, follow that, because that's where my heart really is, a Hammond organ.
Nice, nice. And then you studied. You decided to actually do some jazz studies?
Yeah, I guess, I've always been interested in jazz. I loved it, but I must admit, it scared me. The language was complex. I found it
Right.
complex. The harmony is a different level compared to other genres. So to tackle the monster, the demon, I decided to do a 3 years full-on jazz piano. And I actually didn't touch the Hammond organ that much. I just wanted to play piano, grab the harmony, and take with me. It was like really, to tackle the demons, because I always been interested in hard rock. So I was good with sounds, improvisation, but harmony, I was still at that time liking a bit. So that's why I did it. Keyboard player sometimes it's difficult. You can't afford not to be strong in that department, kind of thing. Yeah.
Could I actually, can you all hear me? Is it coming through?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. I wanted to just zoom out a little bit, and we actually have talked with Chris Junker about this and some others. In terms of the Hammond itself and that sound, I always love to know what people find really just unique and different. I know my thoughts, but it's very interesting to hear from people, what draws you to that? What about that particular setup with the Leslie and all of that really speaks to you as a musician?
That's good. Yeah. I thought about this. I don't know why. I've got to say, I can tell you that it wasn't a Leslie. And the reason is the sound that most attract me is when actually the organ is not attached to the Leslie. Even if I mean I love the Leslie, but Deep Purple made in Japan, Brian Organ and Jack McDuff, the Leslie is either not present
Mhm.
or is still. It's like a Fender amp.
Oh,
Yeah. So in Made in Japan, John Lord is not using a Leslie. He wasn't using Leslie at the time. He was using Marshall amplifiers. And Jack McDuff is the same. He's not spinning the Leslie. He's straight.
mhm.
And Jimmy McGriff did the same thing. And so I don't know why there is something about the Leslie is great, but it's like an effect.
Mhm.
Sometimes it can be a little bit vague, a little bit destructive. Even if I mean I'll use in this last single I'm using all the way, but my initial hook is when you got this straight sound. It's like an electric guitar, between electric and guitar and a jet bass, really. But I'm sorry, I don't think I can answer. I don't know why. It just is.
I love that. Yeah.
It's the sound. It's the sound. It's the sound of it. It's not a piano. It's not a piano. It's not a bass. It's just in between.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I appreciate that. And I really appreciate that perspective on the amplification too, because I think, Kevin, for a lot of musicians in our scene, I've never seen that. But I absolutely agree with you that it is an effect in its own right. And that could just be the sound that a lot of people are going for. But it's really great to think of it in different ways.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I mean, I love the Leslie. I think it's just the best invention after the Hammond. It goes like brother and sisters. It's just amazing. For certain things, though, it's like a guitar player using the chorus all the time. Maybe no, you don't want it all the time, even if, chorus is great, flanger is great, but you don't want it all the time. And that's particularly in Lay Down, I did that. I don't use the Leslie in a couple of tunes. They're static, and you can hear the notes more clearly. It depends on what you're doing, really. It depends on what you do and how you mic. And it can be technical, but let's keep it simple. It depends on what you're doing. If I want the listener to be able to hear the notes clearly, you might want to stop the Leslie.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
So you said that it was 3 years ago or so that you started with the stems from Alan. So this was post quarantine COVID that you started working on this, or was it during the quarantine period?
No, that was before. Hang on a second. I can't remember anymore. No, that was before, wasn't it? Yeah,
Okay.
That was before. So maybe it's more than 3 years. I can't
you're pushing 5 years now. We're 4.5 now, right?
Wow. No, I can't recall. It looks, because I think what happens is that I don't count the COVID years. It's like a hole in my brain.
Right,
Just don't.
I call it COVID year, and it lasted 2.5 years.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Well, all right. 2019. Let's do 2019. Then we'll get into how COVID affected you as a performer. In 2019, you played with Bonnie Tyler, huh?
I played Bonnie Tyler. No.
That's
Where did you
lying
find that?
to me. I found it on Discogs. It said that you played organ on a song called "Move."
Oh, you know what? Bonnie Tyler. Yes, I did. But I recorded the organ in my studio.
Okay.
So I didn't record it. Yeah. Well, it's true, but I wasn't with her in her studio. That
Okay.
Yes, I did it, but it's here in my studio. The producer contacted me and asked me, "Can you record an organ for me?" And then and then after that, he said, "Oh, by the way, this is for Bonnie Tyler for the opportunity." Okay, thank you, but I didn't know after I did it.
Okay. Very nice. Well. What's the name of your studio? I had it in front of me and I can't see it now.
I call it Retrofonica in Italian. In Italian, I'm Italian.
Which I love. That's such a great name. It kind of just rolls off the tongue there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So once March 2020 hits, were you out playing live? Then what were you doing right before COVID hit? And then once it hit, how did it affect you and your music?
So, well, I've been lucky enough till COVID. I always been busy. As I mentioned before, one of the best thing I ever done is learning to play left hand bass, because the word spread around in London, and guitar players just love having a keyboard player that can do bass and it can play some chords for them. They love it. And it's been a great move. So I've been busy with trios around UK, and I love that too. Blues guitar, I love blues. I really do love blues. So I've got two guitarists I'm working on with Chris Corcoran, fantastic 50s blues, and another more modern, more progressive called Paul Garner, which I still play. And I love that. And then plus various jazz trios with trumpet, with saxophone. So that I got busy. COVID has been hard, I guess, for everyone. And yeah, I mean, I was in the studio and with my children, and I just, we were just waiting.
Right. Well,
The
we've
things
heard
go.
from quite a few musicians that like either they practiced more than they ever had in their life during COVID, or they started embracing the
Mhm.
studio, which they'd never done before, kind of thing. So as much as it sucked for the whole world, I feel like a lot of musicians found some good in it or took the chance to hone their craft, kind of thing.
No, absolutely. There is some. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, everyone is different, I guess, because it's so individual. But for me, in my experience, the first year I was actually fine. It's sort of like I even appreciate the break, because
Mhm.
it's where one of the tunes of my album came out with. So you started. You got some time. I didn't have all the time I want. I mean, I've got two young kids, so I was being a parent mainly. But after 1 year, I said, "Well, now is getting weird. Now I'd love to go back and play," and that was impossible. So the second year, I guess it was tough, because I appreciate the quiet time for a while, but then I thought, okay, this is okay now. This is enough now.
Mhm.
But I had to wait another year and then few months because before he would pick up again. And again, I got lucky, because with this left hand bass, people call me to play small gigs, which you can pay the bills and get
Mhm.
along and just do something. And I really learned lots of things. So now saxophonist and trumpet player call me to do a trio gig, because there is this thing that a saxophonist would have to put a quartet together, because uh, double bass and saxophone
Mhm.
drums is really cool, but maybe the average club wouldn't go along with. It's a bit experimental. So you got harmony and a saxophone and a drummer, and you can do a gig.
Did you start actively collecting the vintage studio gear at that time, or is that something you've done, for longer than that?
It's longer.
Yeah.
That I am a fanatic. I love vintage gear. I mean, since I was, I don't know, 15,
Mhm.
16, I started to buy stuff and sell. I don't keep. I sometimes I just buy and sell to see how they sound, how they work.
Mhm.
What it's like is, that I don't have the passion of buying cars. You would lose money, but with vintage gear, if you're careful to buy and know what to buy, you just try them and then you sell them more or less at the price you paid. And then you just, and I
Mhm.
love to experience. Oh, I love this, but I don't think I'm gonna use it. That's how,
Mhm.
behind me, that is my favorite that I had in my ears, but I sold a lot. So yeah, I'm absolutely fanatic. I love it.
Is there like a certain find for you that just sticks out as something that either you were really surprised you could get or that you weren't expecting? So we definitely love to get into these kind of conversations. I find it very fascinating, because that can completely change the sound of what you're doing, is adding one different element to it. So yeah, anything in particular kind of jump out to you?
I mean, yes, but it probably we get into the techno. I mean, there are a couple of amps, and in terms of keyboards, they're the sort of the usual one. I've got my Hammond, the Rhodes, the Wurlitzer, the clavinet. I mean, that's the sound really. And I guess, I mean, for an average listener, if I use an amp or another one, maybe it wouldn't change so much. But as I said, I'm a quite fanatic. I'm really, picky about the always been like this.
Mm-hmm.
So probably no. But even if there are things that I'm so happy I bought, they are a bit quirky. It's mainly valve amps. I everything you hear, it's a valve amp behind. So even if I'm using modern technology with a sound card and all of that, I'm not recording on tape yet. But the source is a keyboard that goes into an amp. It goes to a microphone. That's me. Yeah, I'm not. That's me. Yeah, I'm not using that many plugin
Mm-hmm.
at that level. It's everything is still organic. And then from when I record and after, then yes, I might use plugins and technology.
Okay.
Nice. So when you're recording, what do you just record into the program? You use Pro Tools, or what are you using?
I use Logic. I just started with that, and I don't know. I'm not for that. I'm not very fast. It could have been something else, but I started with that. I'm happy with that, and yeah, I might change it in future if there is this thing called Luna now about universal audios. It seems interesting, but for now, I mean, I'm happy with Logic. It's not
Right.
Yeah, it's
Amanda, what was the thing Alan was talking about?
Oh, the Atmos, the Dolby Atmos.
Oh yeah.
He was saying that he's been using that and how fascinating it is, and to be able to go in and actually almost be inside of the song.
Yes, I've heard, and I think I've read like 2 days ago that streaming platform pay more per stream if you got that. I didn't know that. It's very interesting. Might be something to sort of dig in and see what happens. But I don't do that for now. I'm just mixing and producing without that.
Right. Oh yeah, you should just tell them. Say, oh yeah, it's an Atmos, sure thing. They probably wouldn't notice. I don't think the people who run those companies know much about music at all. There you go. So do you tour with are you touring on this new album with the trio at all? Playing any gigs?
No. Well, the album will come out in May. Just the first tune came out, which is the first single. The second single in next month, and the third single in 2 months, and then the full album. That's the sort of plan I've got. And well, I am really undecided about this, but it's that I have been a session musician all my life, but I'm not sure why for this particular album. I wasn't planning to play it live. I never thought about a band. I don't know how to play half of the album with a band, because surely a trio wouldn't be enough. I could play maybe 4 tunes with a trio, but then I would have to rearrange completely everything, because the album it starts in a way, but it's a journey through straight funk, but then it goes into deeper and deeper. It goes to lettuce territory, and he ends up with sort of. I always been fascinated by movie tracks and soundtracks, and there is a really good school in Italy, brought up by Ennio Morricone, which is a maestro for that, writing soundtrack, and I guess we all absorb a bit of that, and so some of the tunes are more cinematic, I guess. So I don't know how would that play out with a trio. So at the moment, I've been thinking about, and I am planning in my head, but I haven't decided yet. I might do a release party, but not sure. I'll be able to do that. Maybe.
I mean, is it difficult being just a session studio musician in this day and age where you get pennies, less than pennies on the dollars for streams out of things?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, uh, I was chatting with my friend. I don't know in USA. I know in UK and London. I mean, I've been in London for 18 years now. The money is not going up. That's I think is the major. I'm still lucky enough. I'm fairly busy, but the money doesn't go up as fast as the cost of living. That's for me is streaming. I mean, I wasn't in. I don't have a project to play that card.
Right.
Some people do. It's cool. It's very cool. I've been thinking I could do that with more cinematic music, where it goes really well with streaming. Uh, so I guess he has never taken away anything because I wasn't expecting anything. For me,
Okay.
99.9 is gigging and session in the studio. Yeah.
Right. I saw something recently that 30 some percent of clubs in the United Kingdom have closed since
Mm,
COVID, like pubs,
yeah.
which I found fascinating that it's that rough. And I guess the gist of the article was people will spend $300 to go to, the arena there to see some huge band, but they aren't going to go spend $50 to go out on a Friday night and see the local band.
Yeah, you speak the truth. I definitely feel that. I don't know. I feel that there is a gap of between who's famous and goes to the arena, but to fill in a medium-sized club with a gig without being who knows who, that is becoming increasingly hard. That's true.
Without the pubs, I mean, you guys in 77, 76, 77, you had, all the pub rocking bands that turned into like the Sex Pistols and the Clash. And I mean, without the small clubs, we never would have had that music that basically changed the face of rock and roll.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know. I mean, we head in. I don't know. I think we head into a direction that, whatever I like, or not, we head in there. I mean, the smartphone is in our hands and in many hands, and we experience music, and music is so available and very free. I don't know if we're gonna ever go back to. I mean, it'll be a long cycle. I feel like live music in a long time it might be a niche, but it won't be mainstream anymore like it used to be. But
Hmm.
I don't know. It's the price of evolution, I guess. I don't know. I don't have an answer about that.
Mm. That's a really interesting perspective, though. I'm going to think about that one because I think, Kevin, I don't want to speak for you, but in the musical community or scene that I've been a part of for a long time, it is all about the live music experience and going to the clubs and seeing that band as often as you can, wherever they are. But I do understand that even in the US, many areas or markets are not like that. And so it's very easy for me to kind of get um, the blinders on, where I'm just kind of looking at where I live or other major music markets. It might be the same. I mean, Kevin, I could definitely see that.
I could too. I just wonder with what we call jam bands,
Yeah.
they exist solely as a live entity. Very few jam bands. I mean, Lettuce has put out some good albums, but
Yeah.
in general, what you call a jam band is not a studio entity. So I feel like it would be lost if they didn't have the live thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I grew up that way. I always played live. Live has always been. Yeah, I'm with you. In fact, the album I love the most is Made in Japan. It's a live album.
Hmm.
Here we go. It's a live album, and one of I think this is the best selling for them. It's a live album.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm all in. But again, I think the world is going to another direction. So yeah, I might not like it, but
Yeah.
there are. I mean, the thing is, evolution. I think it goes with who's able to adapt, and I am guilty of not be good at that because, well, I guess what you love a Hammond organ, clavinet, it's all retro. Retro is yesterday, so you tend to be attached, and it's a conflict of because you got to adapt at the same time be attached, and there are two conflicting things, and that's why I think I haven't planned anything, but I think in this album I haven't thought about to put a band together because I thought I don't know, are we going into that direction? Am I going to do anything? And I'm trying to see what's for me ahead instead of trying to to go to a wave that I've known for years. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it, but I'm just want to be a little bit ahead for once and see. I don't know exactly what, but I don't know. Go and play the album live. I might do it, but I don't know. It might be hard and harder and harder. So I've been thinking so recently people call me to record keyboards for their projects, like the few people, and then all producing or helping online. Someone in Canada asked me to record a Deep Purple like kind of organ. So I think that's sort of maybe, I don't know, less local. I guess that's not local for me, but it's interesting but scary at the same time.
There's that whole conversation too about licensed music or, those kinds of opportunities too, which Kevin, I know comes up for us occasionally. So not so much studio work, but, music intended to be used for any variety of different purposes. Is that anything that ever comes your way or that you've thought about doing?
Yes. Well, look, yeah, it's very interesting you asked that because I am right there thinking about what's the next move because, well, the technology is there already with artificial intelligence. So there are apps already where you write down, I want a piece of music that goes with this image and that contains retro, lo-fi, 60s. You press enter and it'll give you options. And then you go this software when you decide if you want it faster, if you want it slower. Well, we are heading to a direction that part of the job will be replaced. Now, it won't be human, but there will be a shift. There are already lots of people doing artwork for their album with artificial intelligence. And then that money didn't go to people that do that.
Right.
So, the very at the top won't be affected, but the guy that's working for $150 to $200 is losing the money.
Right.
So the competition it'll be incredible. And there will be people that will not want something made from the computer, fine, but there will people that cannot afford it, so they will. And that's evolution, isn't it? And I am in there as a musician and not as a art cover maker or creative artist, but I'm a musician. I will be affected. I'm aware of that, and it can't be denied. Library music sooner or later will beat that, but other music, no, I don't think it'll be a while before it'll be a while, but I don't know, it's fascinating and very scary, sometimes what I'm gonna do because they're taking away the bread and butter, so if it can be a full-time job is the answer. That's the no, I don't know if my kids will be able to do that.
Yeah, I've been saying for the past year and a half that it's going to be commercials first. All of a sudden, AI will take over doing music for commercials and in little incidental things. And then the question is, does it grow where it can write a whole 15-minute piece that goes in a movie as background music, or at that point, do you know that it's? I feel like now I can tell if something's AI still because it isn't quite there yet, but sooner than later, it might become indistinguishable. You know.
Yes, absolutely. But for me, the point is that we haven't seen the influence of it yet,
Mhm.
because will our ear adapt to recognize that is artificial intelligence? And there will be point, especially and non-musicians, they will accept it completely as a different style. Someone might actually want computer music instead of human music. And once it's become mainstream, then then I don't know. You can go with computer music, a mix of it, or there will still, some people that they want 100% human, you know. But again, the point for me as a musician is the bread and butter, is paying the
Mhm.
bills. That is what it concerns me, because I think we can all find something to do and take a direction. That if there will be enough money, that will I have to go and teach music? That is for me the main key for personally for my career, really.
Nice. So, how much of a pain is it to take the Hammond out, or do you not take the Hammond out when you do gigs? Do you say I need a Hammond there?
Well, I've got an admiration for Chris Juncker, because oh my god, he's bringing that. I mean, I hands down to him. I mean, I love him. I love him. I've got to say, I had my ears. I know. I had a van, a Ford Transit, 4 gears. No more than 50 miles per hour, and I did my, all my 20s, with Fender Rhodes, Leslie, Hammond.
Mhm.
I had a flight case, and 4 people, and we were a trio, so we needed a fourth one, otherwise we would
Mhm.
be stuck waiting for someone. And then my lower back broke. I had to buy other keyboards. And also, I mean, I don't know. London has become really like it's impossible to do that now. You can't park anywhere. There's cameras everywhere. It wouldn't be possible. I mean, it just in other parts where you go accessible areas with big venues. Then so not now, not now, but I used to. But
Mhm.
when I see Chris Juncker every single gig with the mega, I know, hands down, he is dedicated, man,
He
and I
is.
appreciate that. I
Yeah.
really do.
I want to say he posted a picture online somewhat recently. He was in a service elevator somewhere in New York City. I don't know how they got that thing in there, but he barely fit in there with it. It was at once just it made me smile because that is so Chris.
Yeah, and it takes dedication, and I
Yeah.
know because I did it, and I stopped, so I know how hard it is. But God, I mean, that's dedication, and I really admire him to do that, because you know and the sound is I know, I get it, I know.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.